Find the domain and range for the function shown. Here we have g of x equals 3x plus 2. And we just want to know what's the domain and the range. Well, I know how the domain and the range are determined from the equation, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but let's graph it first. So I'm clearing out the old functions. Okay, let's look at the graph. Okay, now it starts at plus 2 here on the y, and it also starts at 0 as an input for x. So that's our input and output, kind of like starting points, if you will. We're at 0 for x and then 2 for y. And then x increases to the right, and y increases going up. So x and y both increase forever beyond those initial values. Here, let's look at the table. And you can see here that we have errors for the inputs of -2 and -1. Starting at 0, we do have a valid output, so it's 0, 2. And then you can see with the table, as x increases, y increases as well, and that will continue on forever. So how do we write that? Well, the domain, we say that x is an element of the real numbers such that x is greater than or equal to 0. And that means any value you pick for x that's a real number greater than or equal to 0 is a valid input for this function. Now the range is the set of all the outputs. Y is an element of the real numbers such that y is greater than or equal to 2. I remember when we were looking at the graph, we saw that 2 was the lowest point for the y values, or the outputs, and then the table increased after that, and so did the graph. Okay, so there's our domain and range for the function.